In this video, let's do a quick unboxing and test of the retail version of the vivo X300 Ultra and see what upgrades Vivo's ultimate flagship brings compared to last year. The X300 Ultra's packaging and design haven't really changed much. It feels like Vivo has been using this X series box design for years. Opening the box, the first layer is the phone. The factory default protective sticker features a triangular design, making it easy to peel off. This year, the included charger has been updated to a Type-C port and supports PD and PPS protocols. It maxes out at 100W, which is quite friendly if you have other devices at home that support universal fast charging protocols. There's also a 9.2A high current data cable and a TPU frosted protective case that is color matched to the phone. In terms of out-of-the-box usability, I think it's much better than a clear soft case. The unit we bought is in the titanium green colorway. To be honest, I feel the overall design and texture of this year's green X300 Ultra aren't as good as the X200 Ultras. This colorway would be perfectly fine on a standard model. It's quite fresh, and the AG frosted glass doesn't easily attract fingerprints, but on an ultimate flagship, it lacks some of the premium feel you'd expect from a top-tier device. Additionally, the spliced design on the lower half of the back, combined with Vivo's vertical logo, looks a bit out of place. Last year's silver X200 Ultra also featured a two-tone design, but it had great visual balance and recognizability. The red ring colorway, on the other hand, doesn't look tacky. Paired with the black metal frame and black lens ring, it feels quite premium. The large circular camera module protrudes even more than on the previous generation X200 Ultra. When it's placed face up on a table, you can easily pick up the phone by grabbing around the camera module. One detail change is that while last year's X200 Ultra had an abrupt straight protrusion, the X300 Ultra uses a cold carved glass process to create a smooth volcano-like transition and then layers a metal platform on top of that. The bare phone weighs in at 242 grams, meaning the overall grip and feel have become noticeably thicker and heavier compared to the X200 Ultra. The button layout on the body has also changed. The elongated physical shutter button on the right frame has been removed, which is a welcome change. After all, from the iPhone to all of the Android flagships that followed suit, my opinion on these dedicated shutter buttons is that they're pretty useless and hard to use. The operation efficiency is never as good as just using the camera UI directly. With it gone, phone cases no longer need a large cutout that ruins the grip. This year, the X300 Pro added a shortcut function key on the left frame, but this key was removed on the X300 Ultra. Honestly, this button is actually quite practical for things like long pressing to switch modes or double-clicking to quickly turn on the flashlight. Last year's X200 Ultra featured an equal-depth quad-curved front design, while the X300 Ultra has switched to a highly uniform flat screen with 4 symmetrically narrow bezels. The overall visual experience is much cleaner. However, when looking at the screen form factor, size, bezel width, and the small corner radii, if you put this phone next to my current daily driver and the X8 Ultra, you can't say they are exactly the same, but there's practically no difference. We even took a tempered glass screen protector from the X8 Ultra and applied it straight onto the X300 Ultra, and it fit perfectly with full coverage, which directly saves the cost of having to make new molds for new screen protectors. So here's the question. With flat screen designs, do you prefer a large corner radius like the iPhone or a small corner radius like on the X8 Ultra and X300 Ultra? In our previous review of the X300 Pro, we pointed out a flaw. Out of the box, scrolling through your information feed didn't feel very smooth. That's because scrolling fast in feed apps would automatically drop the refresh rate to 90 Hz, which is noticeably less silky than a full 120 Hz. The X300 Ultra doesn't have this issue. If you manually select the 120 Hz mode, fast scrolling through feeds won't drop it down to 90 Hz. When the screen is static, if a video is playing, the page drops to 60 Hz. On a pure text interface, it drops to 30 Hz first, then down to 1 Hz. This year, the X300 Ultra's main camera is still a 35mm equivalent by default. The sensor has been upgraded from last year's 50-megapixel lit 818 to a 1/1.12-inch 100-megapixel lit 901. In the camera interface, it still defaults to the vivid mode, but you can now manually customize the default vivid tone. What was called Zeiss Natural Mode on the X200 Ultra has now been renamed to Original Color Mode on the X300 Ultra. The resolution of the main camera's cropped focal lengths has improved compared to the previous generation. Whether it's cropped to 50mm or 70mm, it performs slightly better. However, compared to the expected significant resolution boost from a 200-megapixel sensor, the current system version falls a bit short of expectations. There are also currently some issues with the algorithm. In this set of photos taken at a 2x 70mm crop from the main camera, the X300 Ultra's image looks a bit washed out and the edges seem to have a halo effect. The visual feel of the X200 Ultra is actually more natural. The actual texture should look like what the X100 Ultra captures with its 3.2 times telephoto lens. When comparing the 85mm telephoto lens at a 230mm 10x zoom mode, the cropped resolution between the two is honestly not that different. In some cases, the X300 Ultra handles text details slightly better, while in others, the X200 Ultra captures texture details a bit better. Of course, for daylight telephoto shooting, the X100 Ultra still has an advantage in cropped details because its native focal length is longer. Perhaps due to the smaller telephoto aperture, the X300 Ultra sometimes shows a more noticeable smudging effect in low-light telephoto shots. Of course, this could also be caused by algorithmic differences across different scenes. We'll take more sample shots later to verify this.
Its advantage over other Ultimate flagships still lies in the ultra-wide camera. The LYT-818 sensor is larger and supports optical image stabilization. In slightly dim environments, the texture details in the image are indeed stronger compared to the myriad of 1-inch ultra-wide cameras out there. Especially in video recording, the gap becomes even wider.
Anyway, my impression from this quick unboxing and test is that as an ultimate flagship, the perceived imaging upgrades of the X300 Ultra compared to the X200 Ultra are actually quite small this year. It seems to be more about bolstering peripheral specs, like the haptic motor and speakers. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye everyone!